Männer. Es war ein langer Krieg. Es war ein tapfer Krieg. Ihr habt tapfer und stolz für euer Vaterland gekämpft. Seid eine besondere Truppe, die ineinander
Hey everyone, Hydra here, and this is The Sentry, number 2. This is from Jeff Lemire's new run of The Sentry, where they're bringing him back. We got Jeff doing the writing, Kim Jacinto and Joshua Cassara doing art, and Rain Burrito is doing like inks or colors. Color. So, I wasn't a big fan of number 1. I went ahead and got number 2 though because I got a lot of faith in Jeff Lemire to write a good story. And honestly, number 2 is a lot better issue. I think that's because Jeff is generally writing for the trade, so he gets a lot of the boring shit done in issue 1, which is unfortunate if you're reading the floppies, but in a trade paperback you wouldn't really notice that. Personally, I'm not a big fan of this cover just because I think the art's kind of ugly, but it does actually give a fair idea of what's going to be happening inside the story. I really wish that Marvel wasn't putting 2 different artists on the same book. It's one thing if your artists are good at mimicking other artists, but in this case there is a severe and jarring change between art styles. It's really, really distracting from the story if you're kind of invested in it at all. This little introductory page is kind of cool. So they got the blue and the yellow for the Sentry and the Void. Sentry has nice, well done handwriting. The Void is like sloppy, demented looking. That's kind of cool for me, for being just an overall yellow and blue kind of boring intro. The story, I'm going to try and do this without ruining anything. The story picks up pretty much right where the last one left off, and that's with some mysterious person using the clock that the Sentry has been using to basically live out his life without risking bringing the Void back into existence. And we finally get to see who it was that used the clock. So I'm just going to say right now, I do think this is a lot better. If you are at all interested but you didn't get into issue 1, go ahead and check this out. I would say so far it's going to be a worthwhile story, especially if you're a big Sentry fan. Now, I'm going to start to ruin things because I want to talk about some of the artistic choices that they used in some of these characters, but to do so I have to basically ruin surprises and plots. So, if you don't want me to ruin this, you haven't read it, you plan on doing that later, you're going to want to get out of here, shut it off, move on, any of that stuff, because I'm about to start fucking up the story for you. I'll give you a couple seconds. If I can remember to, I will cut this scene and insert a little audio clip so that you have some time down. Give you about 20 seconds. And we're back. So, the guy who came in through the clock, that's somebody that you're going to be familiar with if you're used to Sentry. He's Cranio. Now, I think they did a cool job on Cranio, but I can't help but notice that Cranio looks like an anime version of Jafar from Aladdin. Like, if Aladdin was done in Japan, I feel like this is what Jafar would have looked like. Which isn't bad or anything. I think he looks cool. It's just his face. Just my first thought was Aladdin. And he's fully aware that this is basically just like a fake world. And he just starts dominating people. He killed Scout. He killed Billy. He's taken out Centrist. This scene right here is freaking hilarious. Jeff Lemire managed to fit in "you're a thought" into the dialogue without actually saying thought, which is fucking hilarious. We got it right here. How could I? It was quite... Well, okay. It should have been it was quite simple, but whoever was in charge of catching spelling errors is retarded. Anyway. How could I? It was quite simple, really. Mind over matter, my dear. Let me tell you a secret, Centrist. Something that will change your perspective on the whole world and your place in it. You're not real. None of this is. It's like, no! Yes, you do not exist. Deep down, you know it's true. Deep down, you're nothing but an idea, a thought. How fucking cool is that? Made me laugh so hard. Cranio is pretty badass in this little bit. But we also get to see what he looks like outside of this world. As we jump back to reality, where the Sentry is trying like hell to figure out something to do. He knows that he's going to be basically taken out if he can't get this clock working again, because everybody's scared of the void and its world-ending implications. So he runs to try and get some help from Billy. Billy is, of course, pissy that he was the last person he came to. He's not interested in helping, and he basically abandons him. Sorry, I heard a sneeze and thought somebody was behind me. As he's leaving, talking with Billy, that's when he finally gets attacked by, I think it's S.H.I.E.L.D.? Pretty sure this is S.H.I.E.L.D. that's doing this. And they pretty much just lock him down in a bunker. The whole time he's been hurt, he's been trying to get a hold of Tony Stark and Doctor Strange. Those are the two that helped him make this device. And they're just ignoring him. Strange was at least out of the country, but Tony Stark just wasn't returning his calls. And then we see Tony here with S.H.I.E.L.D. in the cell with the Sentry. And I really don't like Tony in this set of scenes. I kind of get where he's coming from, but man, do I fucking hate him in this scenes. But this is so cool. Sentry is just trying to reason with him and explain like his position, and Tony is pretty honestly very cold for somebody who's supposed to be his friend, and he expects Sentry to just understand the fact that he's a really bad dude and he has to deal with this. Well, Sentry wants to find this clock and he wants to destroy whoever is responsible, and it is well past the time that he should have transformed. So he lets loose with his transformation, turns into the Sentry, and Tony's like freaking out, and he's like, Bob, what are you doing? And that's when Sentry realizes he's not Bob at all. This is just the Sentry. There's no remnants of Bob anymore. And this is where that huge freaking change in art happens, and it just like getting punched in the face. We suddenly jump to this fucking stupid art. Like, I'm pretty sure this artist must have worked on that, what was that book about the bears? Bear Hunter? Bear Fighter. This looks like the art that was in Bear Fighter. And it's not to say that it's bad or anything, it's just very indie looking, and it is nothing like the previous artwork. The guy doesn't look the same. I hated it. It just threw me out. And we get a couple panels of this while he's back in the real world. Oh yeah, digital code, guys. Let me get this for you. Yep. Seriously, I just there we go. Alright. Marvel.com/redeem. First come, first serve. Here's your code. Get yourself a free copy of Sentry number 2. If you made it this far to my review, you deserve it. You're worth it. Anyway, Sentry Bob shows up in his pocket universe just in time to see Sentris murdered by Cranio. We immediately jump back to Billy in real life with his one arm. See him go home, whistling a song, happy as can be. And that's when we find out that he's the one that hooked Cranio up with this device. And he's having Cranio kill everybody so that he can go in and become the new Sentry. And he's looking freaking evil. So yeah, all in all, number 2 completely and totally changed my my mind on this run. I'm going to keep buying it. I do recommend other people check it out. I think Jeff Lemire is going to tell a good story here. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hail Hydra, baby.